Hello, Manhattan. Welcome to this week's Channel 8 newscast. I'm Zach Doherty.
And I'm Jared Clark. We've got an exciting show for you today, so stay tuned.
Coming up on today's show, we'll bring you one woman's courageous story about her fight with cancer.
The businesses in Aggieville received a creative touch on the outside of their windows thanks to some particular K-State students.
And we'll give you some interesting facts about all that Halloween candy you'll be eating soon.
All this and more coming up on Channel 8 News, so stay right here.
This is Channel 8 News, KKSU LP. For Manhattan and Riley County. From Kansas State University, this is Channel 8 News.
Colder weather seems to be upon us, and our weather reporter Lindy Stuckey is outside of the Kansas State campus. What's going on out there, Lindy?
Hey guys, so it is slightly raining outside. It's just drizzling a little bit for right now, but if you want to hear more about it, I have that coming up. And what's going to happen with this Halloween? I don't know. Let's see if it's going to be a scary weather. So going back to you guys.
Wow, it looks wet out there.
Guess they're going to have to go with the trash bag costume this year.
Most likely, yes. The Riley County Police Department has been using a new patrol deployment called Initiative Laser Point. The strategy involves 4 impact zones selected for concentrated crime reduction and prevention efforts. By targeting these areas, it helps to reduce crime in neighborhoods with traditionally higher crime rates.
In the early morning hours of October 27th, RCPD arrested 21-year-old Cole Smickle of Fort Riley and 20-year-old Raymond Burris of Junction City. These arrests were results of an Initiative Laser Point.
Smickle and Burris were arrested for property crimes in the Riley County area, and as a result, 11 other burglary investigations have been tied back to these 2 men.
This form of evidence-based policing recently got the RCPD International Recognition and Excellence of Law Enforcement Research Bronze Award.
In other police activity, 22-year-old Michael Loads of Manhattan reported a burglary of his unsecured residence and a loss of approximately $1,300.
Loads stated that an unknown subject came into his home, stole several electronic items, including a PlayStation 3 and 2 laptops.
This goes to as a reminder to all Manhattan residents, always remember to lock your house when you leave.
A plea has been entered in connection with the April 7th, 2013 shooting at University Garden Complex.
According to RCPD Attorney at Law Barry Wilkerson, 43-year-old Matthew Wilson entered a plea of no contest to the first-degree murder of Mike Lowry.
Sentencing has been scheduled for December 12th. If Wilson is convicted on this first-degree murder charge, he faces life in prison without parole, eligible for 25 years.
Do you ever hear a storm brewing in Manhattan only to know that it's sunny outside?
Yeah, I have wondered what that was.
Well, I think our neighbors at Fort Riley may have something to do with that. Channel 8 reporter Matthew Spooner traveled to the military base to see what the big noise is.
Thanks, guys. At the base, I found myself in the middle of 2 very different groups. One was very angry, and the other had a lot of guns. Big guns.
The crowd at the gate is not happy. They want their voices to be heard, and they are not liking the answers they are getting. What starts as a peaceful protest transforms into a riot. Amid all of the chaos is a purpose. These Fort Riley soldiers are training to defend a U.S. embassy from attack. The importance of this exercise is even more clear in the wake of the 2012 attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, that resulted in the death of United States Ambassador Christopher Stevens. The U.S. government does not want this to happen again. Fort Riley's Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGee says the U.S. military is shifting its direction. With the drawdown of forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, this unit may end up serving in Africa. And as anyone who has ever trained for anything knows, practice makes perfect. Even though this exercise used no live rounds, the soldiers realized the importance of the mission.
Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGee says their battalion will be helping train military forces from Niger, South Africa, and Burundi.
Matt, what was it like to be in the middle of all that?
It was pretty crazy. Like I said before, there was a lot of guns. I even saw a couple guys with the guns that looked like the one from Rambo, so that was pretty sweet. Almost got run over, but luckily came out unscathed, unharmed, and it was pretty cool just witnessing the United States military preparing for deployments in the future.
Did you get to try any of the riot gear on?
I did get to wear a Army helmet, which was heavier than I thought it would be, and apparently they're way lighter than the old ones were, so I had it easy.
Well, we're going to take our first commercial break here, so don't touch that remote.
I like K-State mainly for the family atmosphere.
Once you're here, you're greeted with a smiling face. You could step onto K-State's campus and feel that without even talking to anyone, that it's welcoming.
The administrators and faculty, they remember your name.
Anywhere you go, someone's there to help you and to smile at you.
Half of campus is going to be wearing purple, and you know that there's that K-State pride.
It's really evident that you can do something and you can be somebody and you can really define yourself here.
I'm a part of the campus.
K-State to me is home.
And that kind of gives me a sense of place.
A Wildcat legacy from generation to generation.
Where my grandfather went to school.
Where my mother went to school.
It's a legacy scholarship program started by the K-State Alumni Association, specifically for the children and grandchildren of K-State alumni. When you buy a K-State license plate, you fund legacy scholarships.
Show your purple pride and be a part of the Wildcat legacy.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Zach Doherty.
And I'm Jared Clark. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Channel 8 KSU and on Facebook at Channel 8 News KSU.
You may have seen pink in many places this month, from Major League Sports to major retailers.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have these pink ribbons in honor of women everywhere who have battled breast cancer.
Channel 8 reporter Kathy Dole has a special story about how one woman's triumph over breast cancer has turned into the fight of her life.
Tina Sheaves is a non-traditional student. She is married. She's a mother of 2 boys. She is majoring in early education with an emphasis in special needs.
This is her last year of college, 2 weeks before school's supposed to start. Lo and behold, that's pretty much where the whirlwind started for us.
Tina and her husband Brian, a sergeant with the K-State Police Department, enjoy spending time with their boys. But this semester, she's not in class.
It isn't brand new cancer. It caused from the chemo and radiation that solved the breast cancer the first time.
The first time, Tina's boys were just 4 and 7 years old.
Breast cancer was pretty easy.
This time, it's a whole new diagnosis. Unable to fight an infection, everything poses a health risk.
It's called myelofibrosis, and it's basically a blood cancer that my bone marrow has stopped working. My body has betrayed me.
Her bags are packed for Wednesday morning. She will leave her boys behind to undergo chemo and a bone marrow transplant at KU Med Center. But even with treatment, her husband expressed his fears.
Have a really strong chance that could be gone.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 boys.
They haven't given up hope.
Going to Bagel Flash, going to World of Fun.
8-year-old Torin is looking forward to the trip they will take together in the future.
So we're hoping that summer that we're going to just have a blast.
Even though Tina is the one fighting cancer, the family has learned.
This is
looking at that bigger picture.
Paying forward is just, we're learning real quick how important it is.
And no matter what, they're in this together. For Channel 8 News, this is Kathy Dahl reporting.
Even with aggressive treatment, Tina's 5-year survival rate is at 50%.
To help the Sheaves family, you can attend the karaoke benefit and silent auction at Kites on November 8th.
On behalf of Jared, myself, and the rest of the Channel 8 News crew, we are keeping the Sheaves family in our thoughts and prayers. Kansas State University recently broke ground on its new $50 million College of Business Administration building.
The 140,000 square foot building will be located on the corner of Manhattan Avenue and Lovers Lane.
Construction on the building will begin next fall. It looks like President Kirk Schultz will be getting a new neighbor in the near future.
With the fall season upon us, it's hard not to catch the jitter of excitement. Channel 8 reporter Katie Ellingsworth went on search to figure out the excitement of pure holiday spirit, or maybe just a sugar high.
For a lot of us, preparing for Halloween means carving pumpkins and pulling out our creepiest decorations. But for parents, it's getting ready for an even antsier crowd of mythical creatures and superstars.
Witches, dragons, and skeletons. There may be a lot of monsters roaming the street on Halloween night, but there is one monster you might not see yet, and this one will follow you home. Happy Halloween! These colorful little packages seem happy enough, especially to kids. But it's no secret to parents that too much of a good thing.
It is a treat. It's not something that you want to eat in large quantity. For example, if you have just one M&M chocolate candy, to burn that off, you need to walk the distance of a football field.
But when this secret monster has gnomes, princes, and even TV stars on its side, how can parents fight it?
The easiest way is just kind of moderation, like we tell ourselves in our daily lives. Moderation, and then sometimes we have to resort to hiding the candy.
If hide and seek isn't your style, Kansas State Extension Specialist Sherilyn Jackson has some suggestions.
And there are a number of things you can do. You can, for one thing, freeze it, save it for later. You can use it to do some holiday baking later on in the season in the fall for Thanksgiving or Christmas. You can also use it to fill a piñata and use that at a party, maybe a birthday party or a holiday party of some sort. And you can also send it overseas to the troops.
Children aren't the only ones that parents need to look out for when it comes to Halloween candy. Your furry friend has reason to fear as well. Although costumes can be fun, sweet treats can be deadly. So make sure you have a plan for your leftover candy that keeps it away from your pet too.
We eat the candy faster than they can get to it. That's probably helps too.
Although I have to tip my hat to their candy eating abilities, I wouldn't recommend that for everyone. I also caution just putting your candy on the counter because from personal experience, animals can jump higher than you think.
Thanks, Katie. Also, in the spirit of Halloween, if you're looking for a fun activity to do with your little trick-or-treater, you can go downtown Manhattan for some door-to-door trick-or-treating as part of an all-day treats day.
Kids can go to different businesses and receive a sweet and a treat as well as show off their costume.
With all those little ghosts and goblins walking around, be sure to be extra careful when driving through town.
We're going to take our next break here, but get ready for the Sunset Zoo as they're coming up next.
Nearly 150 years ago, the first native limestone was carved into the campus of Kansas State University. Since that time, K-State has known what it takes to rise to the challenge. Now, we're challenging ourselves to become a top 50 public research university by the year 2025. To reach that status, our research dollars, endowment, career award winners, and patents are growing to match our internationally recognized programs and research. K-State 2025 is more than a challenge, it's a commitment. A commitment we'll keep. Because where there's a wildcat, there's a way. Class, study. Class, eat. Play, play, play. Study. Class, chill. Class, eat, study, play, study. Sometimes it seems there just aren't enough hours in the day at our 3 campuses, so you have to make every minute count, especially those precious first few. That's why Kansas State alum Herbert Diamond invented the snooze alarm, a dorm room fixture. Because even when you can't wait to get started, sometimes it's nice to wait to get started. Where there's a wildcat, there's a way.
Welcome back. We're joined on set with Julie Ladd from the Sunset Zoo. Can you tell us who you have with us today?
Well, in the spirit of Halloween, I decided to bring some of our Madagascar hissing cockroaches to share with you.
Wow, those are the biggest bugs I've ever seen in my life. Do they have names or anything? Or?
Well, we have an entire tub full of them at the zoo, so we kind of comically name them Jack and Jill and Jack and Jill.
May I?
Yes, you can touch.
It's, oh.
Did you like to see it?
I'm good. I'm all right.
They are one of the biggest species of cockroach. They're native to the island of Madagascar off the southeast coast of Africa. Don't worry though, they don't have any wings, so we don't have to worry about them flying in your studio here. They're going to stay right here in my hand.
Very cool.
Is that as big as they get?
Yeah, this one here is a male. Actually, I don't know if you can see on the camera or not, but he has two of these kind of large bumps on the top toward the head, whereas the female is relatively smooth there. He is about as big as they get. The female will probably get larger. She's not fully grown yet.
Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Homecoming brings in a slew of traditions last week. Ville underwent a colorful makeover.
Paint the Ville had Greeks pairing working from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. decorating their assigned windows.
Our very own Channel 8 reporter, Amy Himmelberg, had the chance to talk to some of the artists just about how much planning goes into these masterpieces.
Brushes, paint, and lots of good old-fashioned competition. Aggieville had an extra pep in its step this week as it was alive with the buzz of painters hard at work. Paint the Ville, a cherished homecoming tradition, helps to brighten local businesses and bring together the student community.
You're doing Paint the Ville, which is where you get a nice window and you make a drawing for the homecoming team, and then you paint it on with our sorority and fraternity.
Fraternity, sorority, and student groups spend time thinking of an idea and tracing their design on large panes between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m.
It takes a while because you really, it's a lot of like throwing ideas around, you know, it only takes one good one, so you have a lot of bad ones, and then kind of collaborating with a bunch of different people and then picking the best from each one and then going with it. So everyone does it differently, but we do a design beforehand and then do it, like actually print it out to the dimension of the window. So then it's there and it's kind of like a trace, and then from there we add more detail and go from there. So.
Then the judging begins. But for many participants, the day was about more than just winning.
It's a great time to bring us together. I know you find out a lot about who you're working with, and it's just a really fun time to get hyped up for K-State.
It's always cool to see how those windows turn out, but it does look like a lot of hard work.
That was an inside look at what happens during Paint the Ville. We've got a quick recap of the rest of the homecoming activities that took place last week.
Panther Chant kicked off with homecoming week with a roaring start at Bramlage Coliseum. Other events included the Wildcat Request Live and Homecoming 5K, which kept the spirits going throughout the week.
The week ended with a parade through Aggieville and the football game on Saturday. AD Pi, Alpha Kappa Lambda, Alpha Gamma Rho, and Alpha of the Clovia were announced winners of Homecoming 2013.
We'd like to thank our friends at Wildcat Watch for their homecoming footage. Tailgating is a tradition, and homecoming week has no exception, with both sides surrounding the stadium filled with laughter, food, and even a whole roasted hog.
From a group of local tailgaters who feed the band once a year to the kids of all ages and students, everyone gathering on the east side of the stadium seemed to be more about just hanging out and having a good time.
Families filled the parking lots and tossed the football, catching up and even willing to clown around for the camera. Tailgating is definitely a family activity, and K-State families run deep, and the children's here are learning about the K-State traditions early.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but coming up we'll get a recap of K-State sports, so stay with us.
Around here, school pride isn't just some slogan on a t-shirt. It's the spirit that comes from understanding we are stronger when we're together. That's the essence of K-State Proud, a nationally recognized student-led fundraising campaign. In just 6 years, K-State Proud has helped raise more than $500,000 to help students who need it most and appreciate it best. Think of it as Philanthropy 101. K-State Proud. It's just one more way the Kansas State family treats one another, well, like family. Where there's a Wildcat, there's a way.
And we're back with our weather reporter, Lindy Stuckey. What can you expect for the rest of the week, Lindy?
Oh man, so it started drizzling out this morning, and now then it started pouring, and I totally underestimated the weather. If you look outside right now, you can see that it is still a little drizzly, but man, if you can get as much like as a giant rain jacket and an umbrella, because you're gonna definitely need it. So we're gonna look at the weather map. And what's happening is there is a jet stream coming across the United States, and it's holding all the cold air up into Canada, and then at the bottom part of the United States, it's holding in all the warmth. And so hopefully for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have some pretty warm weather. Right now it's raining outside. And so it's going to be rainy, warm rain, which is going to be great for just for us and then also for the trees and stuff. You can look at the weather outside. In Los Angeles, it's pretty warm, and all throughout here, that's where it's going to be the warmest, and over here, it's actually going to be colder, except for the New York area. They're going to get warm weather as well. If we look at Kansas in general, we're pretty rainy all over. Dodge City, Wichita, Salina, you'll just see rain throughout the week. Now we're going to look at our 5-day forecast. Today, again, rain, warm rain though. Moving on to Thursday. It's going to be less likely to rain, but it still is going to rain. And then throughout the week, it'll just be warm. And finally, on Halloween, the weather hopefully isn't going to be scary, and it's going to be really nice. So let's just keep hoping, and if it stays how it's supposed to, it'll be warm. So thanks. Back to you guys.
Thanks for the report, Lindy. K-State alumnus Steve Fiziak was recently presented with the Alumni Merit Award at the Eisenhower Circle celebration.
Since graduation in '77, Fiziak was a play-by-play announcer for the Los Angeles Angels 14 years and then moved into working for his hometown team, the Kansas City Royals.
You can see more about Fiziak's success by tuning in next week for a full story right here on Channel 8 News. Now our sports reporter Jay Ryan has coverage of sports this week. Jay?
Thanks, Zach and Jared. A K-State student taking part in a pre-game football skit before last weekend's homecoming game against West Virginia was injured. The student was dressed in West Virginia attire when Willie, as part of tradition, tackled him. According to sources, the student's head hit the turf and he was unresponsive as he appeared to be having seizure-like symptoms after the skit for a short time. The student was taken from the field in an emergency vehicle and transported to nearby Mercy Regional Hospital. His name has currently not been released. Thankfully, after the game, K-State Athletics announced that on their Twitter account that the student was cleared and doing well. In football, the Kansas State Wildcats faced off against the West Virginia Mountaineers. After consecutive losses, both teams were looking for a win to jumpstart the rest of the season. It was anybody's game throughout the first half, with K-State trailing West Virginia 9-7 going into the third. The Wildcats came back from halftime with a new energy. Junior wide receiver Tyler Lockett was instrumental in the Cats' turnaround with 8 receptions for 111 yards and 3 touchdowns in the third quarter alone. The Wildcats defeated the Mountaineers 35-12. The Wildcats kicked off their basketball season with madness in Manhattan. The event began with the men's basketball team unveiling the Big 12 championship banner. Following the unveiling, the Wildcat ball players showed off their moves with a skills and competition, and the men showed up their ups with a dunk competition. The event also included scrimmages with both the men's and women's teams. Speaking of women's basketball, the Lady Cats opened their season facing off against the Washburn Ichabods. Coming off of a season filled with injuries, the Cats are fresh with young talent. In fact, over 77% of the Wildcats' total points were completed by first-time players. The Wildcats defeated the Ichabods 85-64. The K-State men's rugby club team faces off against Topeka in Manhattan on Friday at 7:30. If you think football is tough, come see what happens without the pads. In volleyball, K-State went up against Texas. While the Wildcats put up a good fight, they were ultimately swept by the #1 seed. The loss left the Wildcats with a 2-6 record in the Big 12 and a 14-7 record overall. The K-State women's golf team traveled to Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Collegiate Showdown. The Wildcats placed 15th in the 36-hole tournament. Women's golf closed off their fall season with a record of 35-30-1. After a 3-week break, the men's golf team will close out their season this weekend at the 2013 Pacific Invitational in Stockton, California. With high school fall sports coming to a close, regional and state competitions are in gear, and some other athletes at Clay Center High School are getting a chance to shine. An event in Topeka, Kansas, brought together special athletes and gave them a shot to compete.
So what does today mean to you?
Today is awesome. Well,
trying to get like 10 strikes in a row.
On Saturday, October 26th, there was more than just sub-state volleyball going on. The special education kids from CCCHS headed off to Topeka to go bowling at the Gage Bowling Center.
Every year, the Special Olympic kids have a day to go bowling, a softball tournament, and a track and field day. The kids were very excited for this year's trip and can't wait for the other events to come.
The athletes brought their skills and unique personalities together to compete and socialize at a wonderful event. We'd like to thank the Clay Center High School audio-visual production team for that footage. We're going to take our last commercial break, and we'll be right back with one last look at weather.
Since opening its doors, the International Animal Health and Food Safety Institute has had literally thousands of people take advantage of the facilities and academic programs that are being developed. K-State Olathe offers a unique opportunity for scientists from industry and academia to work side by side, focused on addressing real-life issues and training the workforce. Progress is being achieved. K-State Olathe, now open for business.
Kansas State University's PowerCat Financial Counseling presents SALT, a game-changing financial tool. It's simple, useful, and best of all, free for K-State students and alumni. SALT provides personal money coaches, help with student loans, and a wide range of career opportunities. Go online to kstate.edu/SALT and see what SALT is all about. Get money smart today.
Thanks for staying tuned. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Channel8News KSU and on Facebook at Channel8News KSU.
From our earlier story about Tina Sheaves, we'd like to remind you that the Kansas State Police Department has set up a benefit to help Sheaves' family in the event that takes place at Kites on November 8th and will include a karaoke as well as a silent auction.
The benefit begins at 5 p.m. and is open to the public. There will be lots of great items donated by local businesses for auction. So be sure to get there early. For more information, you can visit the benefit website at sheavesbenefit.zohosites.com.
And you find out a way you can pay it forward and be a bone marrow donor to deletetebonecancer.org.
Well, it is wet outside. I definitely failed in what Lindy was talking about in bringing a rain jacket.
I wasn't quite ready yet either, I tell you what. And I don't know if I'm going to be ready for tomorrow in the Halloween activities either.
Oh, same here. I don't even know what I'm going to be yet. You know what you would be for Halloween?
Well, I was going to go goth. Just because, you know, it's okay to do that once a year, right?
Yes.
Once a year?
Maybe once.
Once a year, okay.
But... all right, but I don't know. I'm thinking there's a bunch of different ideas. Maybe a Pokemon. I think that's the thing this year, right?
What is a Pokemon?
It's well, did you not have
no, you didn't add sexy Pokemon. You got to add sexy in front of any outfit you do, right?
Okay.
Sexy
you think I can pull that off?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Pikachu.
All right. Well, that wraps us up for this week. For more news throughout the week, you can follow us on Twitter at Channel8KSU and on Facebook, Channel8News KSU.
And from Zach and Jay Ryan, Lindy, and the rest of the Channel 8 News team, myself, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Who is going to help safely feed 9 billion people in the year 2050? Who will design sustainable cities that can flourish? Who is going to shed light on dark matter and origins of the universe? Where will we teach the scientists who will engineer our future? At one of the world's top research universities, Kansas State University.